An Australian woman announced that cost of vivid problems continued to affect the rest of nation, and did not spend a single penny in 8 years. Joe Nemeth of North NSW quit his job in 2014 because felt that he was harming someone every time spent his money. Over the years, he lived with 2 families with free wood and food in exchange for his children, housework and horticulture. My mother now uses napkins that friends provided for toilet paper, and the same friends gave her last bit of toothpastes. At one point he lived in a club, and cooked his meals from a stove he built by hand using bricks. He also had to leave his partner, at that time, because they weren't on the ship. This is probably not a life that will not be able to live, or enjoy this life, or want to enjoy it. But really matches me and my personality. He quit his job in 2014, and hasn't worked since then. Ms. Nemeth, after learning negative impact of the purchases on world, explained how it removed a big jump from money. When we buy something in Australia, there is often a footprint that affects lives all over the world, he said. And it really had a lot of money for me. Every time I spent everything, it really strongly affected that potentially damaged other people and other environments around the world. So it was really a lot. And then I was reading a book at some point, and I read about a man who decided to live in England. An example of one of the stoves he makes. One of the places where Mrs. Nemeth lives. At first, Ms. Nemeth was moved with family who lived on a farm near farm, prone to their gardens and recycled huts for free. Using recyclable materials, they had to build a club for the back of it. To make their meals, he had to build his own cooker from bricks known as a rocket stove. A rocket stove is a small stove where basically build yourself and use branches and bars to burn, so don't have to have the real right-wing wood, can only use everything want, find it on the floor. A year and a half of this alternative lifestyle, in 2016, Ms. Nemeth moved to her second house. This time, his new home husband, unfortunately, belonged to his friend who passed away. Ms. Nemeth helped her children wrap children, and have been living happy since then, although she had teething problems. Ms. Nemeth says that its current situation is win-win. Ms. Nemeth rejected her freeloader. Orum I don't think I'm uploading free, he said. What I do is change my skills and time instead of shopping for money for accommodation. So this is just a different method of change. Nevertheless, it was not without disadvantages, because he had to end a relationship he chose to live in this way. The most difficult thing for me was to give up my relationship with my wife when I decided to live without money. This was very challenging. He wasn't interested in such a life. So we had to separate the paths. However, he says he still has no regret.